When I visit different countries, I love to come and speak to people who garden in those countries. So here I am in Argentina in this beautiful plot of land, which is owned by a couple of wonderful people, Miss Herbáceas, you may know them from Instagram. Today I'm going to talk about what they are growing here in Argentina. Hello, I'm Rosy Hardy. This is Rosy Hardy Gardening. If you enjoy our videos, please do subscribe to the channel. So as you can see, I am in some raised beds, which are basically dahlias on one side and then some annuals on the other side. And this is because they love their dahlias and they want to have them as cut flower, and they are trying to grow them to a good standard. They look wonderful going back through here. And you've got these fabulous big heads of these, you've got the single ones there. And I have found out from them that with their dahlias, and we are in December now, it's going to get really hot. And what will happen is that the dahlias will go into dormancy. And then as they get more rain, and the temperatures cool down, the dahlias will come back up. So unlike in the UK, they get 2 flowering seasons with their dahlias. This is wonderful. Now they also get cold winters here. Now not as cold as we would think, but cold considering that their summer temperatures go up to probably 40 degrees centigrade. And their winter temperatures, they do get frost, but their frost is what is more of an air frost. So it comes through on the wind, and the leaves on the trees and the herbaceous stuff just go black and completely die back down. So once that has finished, so the dahlias get 2 sorts of dormancies. They get a summer over hot dormancy, they get a winter cooling dormancy, and then they're able to grow these up. And what they're trying to do here is have as many varieties as they can. A lot of this is for themselves to cut and take back home, but to cut and give to friends. They're a little bit too far away to be a complete flower nursery at the moment, but it is something that they would like to think about in the future. And they're just working out, because in the 2 years that they have been here, they have created an absolutely beautiful haven. You walk in through the gate and it is fabulous. So the dahlias on that side looking superb, and then on this side we have Coreopsis tinctoria. Now we grow this as home as an annual, and it is an annual here as well, but it's more of an ephemeral here, and that means that it will grow flower seed and then you will get 2 or 3 flowerings in a year because those young seedlings come back up. Now these plants here were in the bed, but they have seeded themselves onto the outside. And apparently if they did not keep some of the area mown down and the grass cut, it would be a field of this. But it is very beautiful, it is bright, it is lovely, so they don't mind it and they just keep it under control. But that is the beauty of coming to somewhere like this and speaking to the people who actually garden this land. As to what they do. So they have these slightly raised beds. There is irrigation in here, it is drip hose, but because they are not here on the land all the time, they only come at the weekends. This gets 25 minutes, maybe twice at the weekends, and that is all the water just to keep it sustained. And we are on clay soil here, so it's quite a hard soil for them to dig. They use a lot of mulch. They compost whatever they can and they put that back onto the land as well. Oh, and I don't know whether you can see it, but a hummingbird has just come into the side there. I was asking about what they have in the way of pollinators here in this area, and they have quite a lot of insects, but this was flat land, so what they have brought in the way of plant material and flowers has increased the biodiversity of this area, which is really good. They have a lot of small dragonflies and other sorts of water loving ones, because there is a big area of water behind them which is going to be renovated. And so they have all of this, but they do have bees as well who come in, mostly honeybees, hence why there is so much in the way of seeding, and because they're getting pollinated really well. There are a lot of hoverflies that I've noticed as well, so they've got a lot of hoverflies coming in and doing the pollinating also, so that is great, and it means that they have some really wonderful seedling plants around. I will go over to another bed of dahlias over there, which is where they are doing some of their own seed raised ones to see if they've got anything of interest, and which is great. It's lovely to see this. They're really being good with the land. They are not spraying, they are doing organic processes, and they're trying to make it so that the plants that are here do not need masses of looking after, because they aren't able to be here all of the time. Now, this is something that I always love to see, and that is people saving seed from things and experimenting and seeing what they are going to get from those seedlings. So here we have a bed of seedling dahlias, and there are some interesting different forms in here. This one they really like. It is a really lovely big pink one, and there is another one further there which I will show you in a moment. And there are all sorts of different colours. So you've got single yellows, there's this lovely double yellow here, there are pale pinks, there's green foliage, there's darker foliage, there's almost purple foliage and purple sands, and then this fabulous single orange which is here. Now, they were a bit worried initially when they started to flower that they were getting a lot of these single ones, but then they realised, you know, you've got different colour, different shapes of flower. And so from that point of view, it makes it interesting. They can see what they have got. And when you have something like this, you have your odd favourite, and your odd favourite will be kept, and then the other ones will all go on the compost heap, because there is no point in keeping them if they are not of any interest. I think this is where people get a little bit, oh, I can't throw it away. But you have to, if you are breeding, you have to go through all of these ones which are of no use whatsoever. They aren't any different, they're no better, the size of the flower is not good, the colour is not good, the leaf is not good. So you have to go through all of those choices, and you have to get rid of the ones which are no good. And then you can, once you've got something that you've grown from seed, then after that you will then propagate it by doing cuttings or dividing the tubers, so that you have got clones of the original. You do not take seed from this except for trying to get something else. So in here, as I say, there are lots of different things coming through. This is another one that's going to be pink, but it's got a dark stem. This one has a green leaf. The leaves on these are different colours. As I say, this one has a apricot colour to the edge of its leaf. This is a double yellow. There's a yellow there with a apricot. I actually love this one. This is a tall one. It's very much like Dahlia cochineal, a little bit smaller, and that looks a good strong plant. That's the other thing when you're looking at these things. You need a good strong plant. So if I take this yellow one out of the way of this one, this is the one that they actually really like. This one has a beautiful open flower, and it's got that lovely yellow in the center there. So it looks really superb. It is a big flowering form. Seems to be strong as well. They've cut it already once, and then these are the new flowers coming through. So that is a really beautiful form, really lovely one. So I think that's one they're going to keep. This one in my hand is not very good. You can see it's burnt off. So that is what you have to look at, whether they are going to survive in different conditions, whether they rebloom well. And it takes a long time to get a new plant. Recently I set up an email newsletter, and if you want to sign up, then please click in the comments link below or scan the QR code on the screen now. If you sign up, you get an exclusive video. This is a video of me explaining colour combinations and plant combinations in real gardens. Here again, it is lovely to see in their beds where they are growing plants for cutting more than for putting out in the garden area. And this is Zinnia Coral Beauty, and these are seedlings or seed that was collected from their growing plants. And this is where seedling variation is just so obvious. You've got something here which is really almost a magenta pink and semi-double, and then you have the true Coral Beauty here with its lovely semi-double and very coral colours, but also you'll get something which is single and still coral coloured. You'll also get something which is slightly pinker, semi-double. So the variation that you see within here is what is known as seedling variation. So a plant that you think is going to give you true seed will give you, I mean, it's giving you zinnia all in the same shade, but because the true coral beauty was perhaps one that was bred to be that, and then its genes are slightly different, as you get next generations, so the next generations change slightly, and you're not getting a clone, so you're not doing it vegetatively. And so therefore you get this variation, which is lovely. There's absolutely no problem in that whatsoever. But these are beautiful. These are beautiful zinnia. What I really love about this garden is the fact that it's like walking into a paradise, and the pathways have the plants allowed to join over the top of them. I'm in the middle here of a couple of Onothera, Gora, and they're allowed to sprawl over, and then the pathway is hidden when you look at it from behind there. I'm underneath a beautiful senna-like tree which is just growing up. It has huge big thorns on it, but it is really, really beautiful. And then this lovely little white daisy here, which is probably an anthemis of some sort or a cota, is doing well, and things are able to self-seed, and I have a dog come and say hello to me. Well, that is brilliant. But what you get is you get this lovely soft billowing of the plants all around you. The grasses are billowing and looking really beautiful. Behind me here there is some Verbena bonariensis, of course there is. But then if you look into the distance and past me, there is the lovely yellow there of the helianthus, and that lovely double yellow helianthus just, you know, it's quite a bit further back from me, but it pops out. There are lovely soft mauves and creams and whites and blues, and then every now and again it is punctuated with that lovely yellow. And that's what I like. And when people say that they don't like yellow in a garden, you really do need it. And especially when you have big expanses of blue sky and the strong sun like you are getting here in Argentina, then you need something which is a pop of colour to then bring everything else into view. And that is what that does. It just brings it into view. I will show you some other places within this border where exactly the same sort of planting has happened, where you get a pop of yellow or a pop of orange, just to give you an idea that there are other plants in there. Because if you just have lilacs, you just have mauves, and you have a little bit of white, you lose a lot of what is there. So you need those bright colours every now and again to punctuate. Don't have it everywhere, just a little punctuation point, and it is lovely. This flowing feel though here, I absolutely adore. So I have just got out of that flowing feel, but here behind me it flows again, and if you look down this stretch without me right in the foreground there, you can see how this is just billowing around. It is quite soft and beautiful, and then suddenly you get this which is lovely, and it's tall, and it gives you that accentuation. It just gives you something to focus on with all the other froth going on around about you. And it is lovely. There is a path coming down through here and going out there, and there is another path going out round through there. There are allium heads as well. Beautiful. Leave them there. They are structural as well. And you just push past what is there. As I said, I would show you other places in this beautiful garden where there are punctuation points of something slightly brighter rather than the softs of the whites and the purples and the blues and maybe even the green of the grasses. Here we have some Rudbeckia maxima, and it has its lovely silver grey leaves and then these beautiful dark cones, but this lovely strong yellow. So it just shows you, it draws your eye in, and you then look at everything behind you. You've still got wafting of soft grass heads, and you've got these lovely upright seed heads of the alliums, which just give you a different feel, because if you've got that wafting feeling of the grasses, you have that round solid head which also moves, but it's a little bit more solitary. Beautiful grasses. This garden is punctuated with grasses all over, different forms. So you've got things like this, which are really good upright and then going to have their flower heads up here. Behind it, the fabulous Salvia uliginosa, which is looking stunning and really, really beautiful. Now this is a raised bed because they have clay soil here. They have found it very difficult to dig into it and get a lot, actually work it. So with a lot of manure, compost, and then some introduced soil and raising the beds, they are able to have all of these plants in here, because the winter gets very wet, and if it was to sit in the clay, it would all, not all of it, but a lot of it, with the crowns would rot, and so that makes it more difficult. So they have worked with this. As I say, this garden has only been here for 2 years. This is what you can do in 2 years if you work at it and you put the plants in correctly. Yes, there has been a lot of editing. I have asked and they have said yes. There have been failures, there have been things that have been too good, a little bit thuggy, so they have been edited out. There are some beautiful salvias. There's another salvia here behind me as well. These alliums are stonking, and you've got verbena. But you know, you have the blues, the soft greens, the whites, the lilacs, they all blend into each other a little bit. So having that bit of yellow and that little bit of red just pings it out and draws your attention to look at the border in a different way. And yes, they are putting trees at the back because this was flat land. And it is a garden that is going to evolve and become better as it goes on. And with the love and the amount of concern about trying to get plants to work and to make sure that they haven't got too many weedy subjects in here, ones that they don't want, then this is going to become a beautiful sanctuary. And at the moment it is their sanctuary, which they allow selected people to come and have a look at, which is wonderful. And the way that you will get to see it, if you wanted to see it, is you look on their Instagram page, Miss Herbáceas, and that you will find they will do you snapshots of what is going on in there. You will see a lot of dahlias because that is what they like, but this is the beautiful garden that they have created, and they are going to continue to create and make into something that is very, very special. It is just such a beautiful spot. It is 2,500 meters square. So not a huge plot, but beautiful. The garden is right on the edge of what was a dug out area that was a wetland and a pond. But unfortunately, they dug it too deep and removed all of the clay that would have kept it wet all the time. So they are now going to refill it and make it a proper natural wetland, which will help with this beautiful garden here being able to have a load more of beneficial insects coming into the garden. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.